Kevin is always number one. I still don't know how she does it. Yes, well. Olori Supergirl, how are you? Ẹ̀pẹ̀lẹ́ o, báwo ni iṣẹ́ ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ ń lọ dáadáa? Okay, I'll be with you in about 60 seconds. I'm waiting for my special guest.
Let's go! Somebody said, name above every other name. Oh, what can't you change? What can't you change? Jesus. Tonight we celebrate God. Come on, Jesus.
Ọmọọba kò fowó rọlá Adérẹ̀mí, ọ̀rẹ́ mi àtàtà, how are you?
Nothing you cannot do, nothing you cannot change, nothing you cannot turn around. You're able, great and mighty God. Put my trust in you. You're able, Jesus. We love to sing about our God. Come on, put your hands together. Say, put those hands together. Let them shoot with a heart. Jesus, Creator, what can't you do? What can't you do? Jesus.
Hey, my brother. Ọmọ ọlọ́pọ̀ bíi
Thank you so much. Thank you,
I am
thank you,
happy
thank you,
part of the day
thank
with
you.
you. You know your phone has been ringing permanently.
Please, yeah.
You see, you're a great man and
Thank
you're
you,
a friend to so many people.
thank you very much.
It's decided we must celebrate you tonight. I'm
Thank
sure you
you,
what is Dele up to. We must encourage good people in our society.
thank you.
We must promote our best.
I agree with you.
And
I agree with you 100%.
we have quite a number of mutual friends. And what everyone says about KOLA ADESINA is that one is a very brilliant man. Two is a man of conscience. Three
Thank you.
is a great helper. when people are in need. And number 4, which is most crucial, is a very
Thank you.
loyal friend, very dependable friend. A friend of
Thank
ours
you.
will get how you supported him even when he had nothing to offer you. So on that note, we'll give you a happy birthday song. We'll give it, and then we'll have a conversation.
Happy birthday. This is your birthday song. Celebration all night long. May all your dreams come true. We sing all together. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Celebration, party night, we feel the vibration. Lights are bright, we're feeling alright. We're dancing till the morning light. Happy birthday celebration. Everybody gets the temptation. Once again, this is your night, and everyone feels right. Happy birthday to you. May all your dreams come true. May all your dreams come true. This is your birthday song. Celebration all night long. May all your dreams come true. We sing all together. Happy birthday to you. It's perfect motivation. Figure about all the fascination. All your friends are here tonight. Happy anniversary, we hold you tight. It's a perfect situation. Hey, I thought what a combination. Once again, this is your night, and everyone feels right.
Yes. How does it feel being a year older today?
Thank you, my brother.
So how do you feel today, sir?
Thank you. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? I said, how do you feel today? How do you feel? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. It's better now. I lost you for a second.
Okay, I said, how do you feel today?
Well, if I heard you, you were asking how was today, I guess, because I lost you for a second again.
Yeah, how do you feel?
Oh, I didn't hear your
I think
question. I didn't get that.
It's an internet problem.
Yes, it is.
Internet problem. Yes.
Okay, what was the question? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, how do you feel today? How do you feel? How are you today?
Very happy. Very happy, very refreshed, rejuvenated, ready to go again. I feel renewed. I feel like I'm just starting a new race. I feel like somebody that is just warming up to start another journey. Grateful to God. I feel so delighted for all the things He's done for me. I'm really happy, I'm excited, and I want to thank Him for everything that He's done in my life, right from the beginning of my journey till date. It's been a very exciting journey, walking with God, knowing God, and having Him behind me and in front of me. I'm a very happy person today.
Fantastic. Before we talk about business in Africa, not just Nigeria, could you tell us about your background? You see, because a lot of people will see you today, or they'll say you are a big man, a jet setter, but they might not know the journey. If you could just help us to describe your journey.
Well, the journey of my life, I was born in 1964, 12th of August. Today, by His grace, I'm 56. I was born in Shomolu to Mrs. Adejumoke Adesina, as well as my late great father, Ishola Shobola Adesina. I had a very fantastic beginning. Then it became very bad. My parents became very poor. It was a very difficult period for me, a phase that I needed to go through so much of lessons in life. I was a bus conductor. I was a vendor. I was a fuel attendant. And eventually, God, in His mercies, led me on through all this very horrible journey. And then I went to children-home school in Ibadan, St. Andrews Primary School. I went to children-home school as Grace Nursery and Primary School. From where I went to Jibu High School, then University of Lagos. I studied insurance, first degree. Second degree, I went for MSc in business administration, then master's in international law and diplomacy. I was an insurance broker for years. I was a lecturer for years. And eventually I found myself in energy, where today I sell not just electricity, oil and gas. And by His grace, today I'm the chairman of Keja Electric, a director of SAHARA Power Group, the group managing director of SAHARA Power Group, a director in SAHARA Group itself, and a director in Edmi Power PLC. So that's the journey of my life. It's been very exciting, I must say.
Wow, how did you manage to migrate in 56 years from doing menial jobs, including bus conductor? I'm hearing that for the first time. I thought I knew you very well.
Okay, well, the journey was one of first, like I said, everything was okay when I was born. Things got bad. My parents became very poor. It was a very challenging period for them. So they had to fight poverty. And in fighting poverty, I had to join them to do so. So invariably, in order to survive, I needed to fend for myself. And then that led me into the world of menial jobs, trying to survive and make ends meet. In order to go to school, finish my school cert, and then go to the university, it was hopping from one end of life to another, just trying to scrape survival. So that's how it's been for me. Now, the thing I've had cause to do in life is that I'm an advocate of problem solving. I feel that solving a problem is ultimately going to determine how any nation will grow. The nation that will become powerful and strong and dependable and reliable and respected must be a nation that solves problems, must be a nation of thinkers, must be a nation of visionaries, and a nation where people are driven by execution, brilliant execution, quality people, and all that. Now, if you look at the Nigerian society, my own view has always been that, yes, things are terrible had happened in time past, but we shouldn't dwell on those things of yesterday if we truly want to liberate our nation and become as great as we want to be. A lot of people go through the motions of lamentation. Like my past was very challenging, really very bad, but my today is different from my past. So invariably using that same template for nation building, my own view has always been that no matter how bad things are today, tomorrow is going to be better. So I usually, every day of my life, fire myself with optimism, believing that whatever challenges of today, whatever the difficult choices I need to make today, I must never yield myself to pessimism. So I always want to see the better part of life so that I become energized, and the passion in me makes me become more successful. So that's been my story, and that's how transformation from one area to another area has been relatively easy, so to speak, at least to outsiders. But to me, the person going through it, I know it's been a very challenging time, but I love it. I'm impressed by what I'm doing.
Wow. Before we continue, there is a breaking news. Ambassador Walter Carrington has been announced dead. I'm just getting that message now. Yes. May his gentle soul in peace. He was very close in Adeku days. It was very, very, and I think he celebrated his birthday in the last 1 or 2.
Yes.
A very, very sad day, especially for those of us who fought for democracy. This man gave up everything. Married our sister in Nigeria, RSA, and they've lived practically in Nigeria since then. So, yes, Ambassador Walter Carrington, Nigeria will miss you. You were a great friend, son-in-law of Nigeria. We love you. So, we'll be in touch later with the family. Now, Adesina or Pastor Adesina, because you were different cabs.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about life in Lagos at that time? Your recollection of life in Lagos. You said you were born in Shomolu.
Okay. I've lost you for a second now, so but I think what you were asking is life in Lagos.
Up in Shomolu. Are you
Yeah.
hearing me? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you now. I lost you for a second.
Yes. Can you give us in detail, life as a kid and
Yeah.
first go onto the streets? Can we have it in detail? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, life on the streets. If you are in Lagos and maybe on Saturday, I can drive you to my house then, one of the places we lived in Lagos, number 18 Oluwalogbon Street, Shomolu, Lagos. The building, it was a room and parlor apartment that were then, and then the restroom was not actually a restroom. It was a toilet with roofing sheets all around. And you know what they call shalanga very well. That's what we had. And the bathroom, it was like a see-through. If anybody is having his bath, you need to use extra towels or fine papers or whatever to cover those places. So that's the place I grew up in, at least my adolescent life before I became an adult and all that. It was a very challenging time, but it was very nice. I'll tell you why. The beauty of my childhood lies in this, the communal living, with which we all grew up. Everybody knew everybody. We could sleep in every other person's home. There wasn't a case of somebody is missing or whatever. So it was more or less every family out there looking out for you. So my father was not just my parents. I had parents that were not my blood, not my father and not my mother, that would discipline you. Growing up was more of hard work. The message and the music of that generation was the music that would teach you to be diligent, to be sincere, integrity, and all those positive values in society. As at the time I was growing up, the case of Oyenusi and the rest of them were just emerging. I remember with vivid displeasure. And I recall the day that my Oyenusi was killed, was fired by at the firing squad. It was a scene where my dad had to make me go there just to say, you must not steal. That if you go into stealing or robbery, this will be the consequence of that. And that image, stuck with me. It stayed with me till date. Anytime I think of Oyenusi, that's the image I see. Occasionally when I go on the internet intentionally, I just want to check that video again because I was there live at the barbershop. I saw it live. So growing up in Shomolu was one where you needed to be strong. It wasn't for the lily-livered. It was one where you had to walk to school more often than not. It was one where you had to rely heavily on you doing your stuff yourself, reading your own materials yourself. I didn't go into a library until I entered the university. I didn't know there was any place where there was a library really in the strict sense of the word until I was in the university where I had to now see the library for the first time. Growing up, again, unfortunately, I can say this publicly to everybody to listen to today. I did not know that there was any dedicated location where people go to dance. When I hear of clubhouses these days and I see young people go to dance, I wonder, wow, these guys are having fun. They are really living the life. I didn't have to go through that because it was really a very tough period for me at that time, for my parents. I'm the first child, and it invariably meant that I needed to show example, and leadership by example put so much burden on me, sort of. By the time I started doing the job of selling newspapers, we used to go to Metro Cinema. Metro Cinema then was around the Monipan area, where we'll go with newspapers to sell newspapers in the evening and then the weekends as well. During the day, weekday, no, I don't sell, but in the evening I go to sell. And then once that is done, if I have enough resources that will give us food, I will come back home, fine, I've done my bit for the day, unknown to everybody around me. Until one day, a friend of my father saw me, and he couldn't believe it. That, wow, what are you doing here? You, a vendor? What kind of rubbish is this? You know, so, and therein was the beginning of that turnaround for me. As a child, I always had the belief that I would be successful in life. I was, and I'm still goal driven to the core. Once I set my target, I'm sure nothing can stop me. No earthquake, no storm, no tempest, nothing whatsoever can stop me except I've not set a goal. Once a goal is set for me, it becomes a mantra. It becomes a lifetime thing. So that has been my story. My Shomolu story was one where friendship was built. A lot of friends I built at that time. We will read together, you know, we'll study together, we'll put our feet inside the water, outside our homes, reading with lantern and candle. So it was really a very challenging period. We thank God for the grace of God in our lives. Today we're doing well.
Wow, you are doing very well. That's
Thank you.
extremely, extremely well. Okay, I haven't come from that background and seeing Nigeria of today. You are a key player in what can drive development and progress in Nigeria. What do you think is responsible for the growth of our development?
Okay, for me as a country, I've always said that there is a need for us to properly articulate where we want to be as a nation, what we need to do as a nation, and fashion out a plan that all of us will sign to and stick by and work with it as if it's a life mantra. Until all of us come together to understand that nation building is not built on just propaganda, or is it built on wishful thinking? Neither is it built on just oratory, skill of oratory. It's not built on any of those things. It's based on clarity of thought. You must first have a grand vision of where do you want to be as a nation? Where do we want to be? We must be very clear. We must have the concept that would make us become as great as we want to be. What resources do we have in Nigeria? 200 million people, fantastic resource. Natural resources in abundance. However, the application of the resources and the number of people is where we need to find a way to close that gap. You can have books in your library. If you don't read those books, it's meaningless. I see friends buy books, but they don't read the books. So they have books in their libraries, but they are not touching the books. So it's just an advert. So it becomes cover without content. What makes you successful in an enduring manner is for you to have content. Now, our plan as a nation, do we have a plan that has content? You know, anytime I want to go back in time to interrogate the story of Nigeria, looking back, which is necessary occasionally, and I pick the books written by Obafemi Awolowo. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was detailed, it was clear, it was precise, it was analytical. He knew what he wanted to do. And when you go back in time with regards to his achievement, he precisely went to places to build infrastructure needed at that material time fit for purpose. But if today all that we clamor for are things that are ephemeral, we definitely will not get there. Our allocation of resources, the time we spend in determining what we need to do and where we need to be is far more critical. And the execution of that plan is the one that is really more often than not missing in Nigeria. I've looked at my country. We are very good in speaking a lot of English. We are very good in designing plans, usually more flamboyant and rhetorical. But in terms of drilling down, it's a problem that we need to solve. My own recommendation to the country and to the leaders is, can we have first a change in the mindset? Can we start to think Nigeria and Nigerian before we start to think our various ethnic stock, our tribes, and our religion? When can we have a Nigerian mindset where once we hear the anthem being sung, you bring out in you a sense of nationalism and patriotism, that the anthem is being sung. I remember those days when you hear the anthem, you stop. No matter what you're doing, you stop and you sing along. You're happy. You are really very happy being a Nigerian. But today, that's not the case. Now, we're not going to dwell again. Like I said, we're not going to gain anything arguing about the past. You know, there's nothing that you will solve with that. What matters now is the future. So the future of Nigeria must be one where, first and foremost, we have a Nigerian mindset. A Nigerian mindset is a mindset of excellence. A Nigerian mindset is a mindset of quality. A Nigerian mindset is a mindset of smartness. Now, when the COVID broke and the world, the rest of the world, those who truly want to be first, what were they doing? They were aggressively seeking a vaccine to solve the problem of the pandemic. But in Nigeria, what were we doing? Now that tells you that a mindset change is needed. When you take our newspapers, what do you read in our newspapers? What kind of stories do you read? That's something that we need to start to talk about. The laboratories of ideas in other parts of the world are active. The laboratory of ideas in Nigeria, I can't say it. I'm sorry. Now, what issues are we discussing in Nigeria? Today, we've gone back to the old rhetorics. Who is going to be president in 2023? That's the new song. And for 4 years, we're going to sing that song. 2023 comes, it's going to be now 2027, it's going to be 2031, on and on, on and on. We cannot develop this country on that basis. If we truly want to develop Nigeria, my recommendation, Nigeria should focus on education. Because the more educated we become, the greater the potential of us rising in the Committee of Nations to lead other nations. It is very imperative that we start to put our money where our mouth is. In the allocation of resources, the way and manner people know whether or not you're serious is how focused are you? How focused are you regarding the things that matter? Are we focused on education? Our children are not in school at this point in time. Why? Because of the pandemic. Now, fine, no problem. There is a pandemic out there. But in other nations of the world, they are conducting online learning exercise. So it's not as if the school is closed and it's closed permanently. So quite a number of our students are here. They are not in school and they are not in school. Meanwhile, in other climes, they are not in school, yet they are in school. So can we start to build an educational system that rests on technology as the foundation? Because without that, we cannot compete. We will remain laggards. Number two, can we focus on healthcare? Because they say health is wealth. If we don't spend money and allocate our time, our energy and resources in strategic health infrastructure, we will definitely not be able to move as far as we should. Now, let me come to my space. I ultimately would have loved to come to that space, but let me now come to my space. Energy. Without energy, the nation is dead. We're having this conversation primarily because of the fact that there is energy behind it, irrespective of the fact that people will say this is technology. If I didn't charge my phone, you didn't charge your phone, we'll be having this conversation. If you don't have light, we can't use candle light to be having this kind of conversation. You must have light. Something is providing electricity. The energy space is one that represents the bedrock upon which industrialization can be achieved in Nigeria. The economy of Nigeria can only be liberated. And the minds, the human minds, our creativity, our innovation, our productivity can only be unleashed if and only if energy becomes the focal point. Today, the question, if it is not, then let's make it. Now, I want to say something, and this is not me being political in any way. We've spent so much money tackling the issue of energy, but we've not achieved much. Part of what needs to be done is to interrogate why have we not achieved more. And in interrogating it is for us to know the proximate cause of the problem. What has led us down the wrong path over the years? Now, what can we do to remedy without blaming anybody? It's not a blame game now. It's where did we drop the ball? If our population is increasing geometrically and we don't have a concomitant increase in energy supply, we will continue to lag behind. The energy infrastructure must actually move faster than the population. It is only then you can have electricity in an uninterrupted, stable, and reliable manner. If electricity is seen as an economic product and it is priced as such, what would happen is that individuals would now, in their scale of preference, with regards to how they want to spend their money, will spend their money judiciously in the area where they know that will add value to them. Electricity will add value to our lives. So again, there is a need for us to price the product very well. The third one for me is that in the value chain of electricity, you have gas supply, you have generation, you have transmission, you have distribution. If there is no alignment amongst these subsects, you can't have light. If any one of them drops the ball, there is no light. So how do we align the system in a manner that will ensure that there is stability of supply of electricity? For those of us who took the decision, and a bold decision for that matter, decisively, that we are not going to wait and allow our nation to be a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations, we invested our money. Now today we're suffering. We're suffering because of misalignment. We're suffering because of the fact that those things that were meant to be made available to us were not made available. The enablers are missing. However, thankfully, recently, government is moving and we're talking. Unlike before, where we were all just arguing against each other, today we're actually having a conversation around how to bring that alignment and make this work. We as a company, my company SAHARA, we invested about over $1 billion in this business. By any stretch of imagination anywhere in the world, we should be reckoned with, and government should support us to be able to make this electricity available. But today, are we getting all the support we require? Now we're about to. It's getting better, but previously we weren't, I must confess. But today we're now coming together, all the parts of government, from the presidency down to us, the practitioners, we're all coming together to make the consumer happy. If the customer is happy, we, the investors, will be happy. If we are happy, the government will be happy. So that chain of happiness needs to be oiled continuously by the system. It's important that we start to put our money where our mouth is. So that speaks to the second item with regards to what needs to be done in Nigeria, priority. And the last one is action. Nigeria needs to be an action-driven nation. It's not a talking. We talk too much. I think action is required.
Well, you are a major player in the industry, and your industry is such that every day we all grumble either in our offices or our homes. NEPA, light has gone. And if you talk to the people in government, they tell you, oh, we can generate enough, but we don't have capacity to transmit. We don't have capacity to. So where are we right now? Because nobody really knows. All we know is that, okay, I want to connect my lights, and then the process is not so clear-cut. Where exactly are we at this time?
Okay, where we are now, like I said earlier, is that we're having a conversation around a template all of us will sign to. Government will sign to it, we, the investors, will sign to it, and will ensure that we incrementally increase power to everybody. One of the things I've said to everybody that listens to me is the fact that the DNA of a private sector person and an investor is that the more I sell, the more money I make. So if peradventure I'm not selling more, it invariably means I'm not making more. There's something wrong somewhere. So somebody needs to interrogate that. And what is happening is, simply put, the fact that a lot of people speak to, yes, tariff. Yes, is the first thing, because pricing is a very major issue here. But that is not the only thing. What needs to happen is that each part of the value chain needs to have a document that speaks to every part of that chain and harmonizes every part of the chain, integrates all aspects in a manner that, yes, our interrelationship becomes continuously supported by data and action. But if the transmission man chooses not to take energy from the person that generates the power is wasted. Unfortunately, power cannot be stored. So if transmission infrastructure, to use your example, transmission infrastructure is not good enough, part of what you are going to see is that the electricity supply will drop. And once it drops, that's it. So the consumer would not have light. So the importance of integration and everybody speaking together in an holistic manner today suggests that when the gas supplier is supplying gas on a day-to-day basis, the generation man is aware of the gas volume he's going to receive and the amount of power is able to generate with that gas. And the transmission person who is going to evacuate that power equally is fully familiar with the power that is coming through his chain and is ready to receive that power. And the distribution man that sells the power to our various homes equally has the infrastructure readily available to take that power and bring the power to our homes. It is when that works in a seamless manner that you have light. Anytime any person in that chain drops the ball, that's when you don't have light. Unfortunately, the person you see is the person that provides services to you, the last mile, the distribution company. So that's the person everybody blames. They forget that if there is vandalism of the pipeline, you won't have electricity. If the generation company, if their infrastructure goes down, their machines goes down, and they are not maintaining their machines very well, there won't be anything to transmit. If the transmission man does not have the capacity to take the power being generated, it means that you will lose energy. So on and on the entire value chain. It's an holistic, integrated value chain that speaks to the fact that just like the human body, the heart, the brain, the kidney, the liver, and all the organs of the body, the lungs, they are all working together. That's why we're having this conversation. If any part of our human body fails to do what it's meant to do, this conversation will stop willy-nilly. And that's when we say we're sick. And that's why Nigeria is still in a sick state with regards to electricity, primarily because there is lack of harmony in the value chain of electricity. And that is what government is working on as I speak to you at this point in time.
How come every government works on it? We just hear they are working, and then at the end of the day, nothing changes. But can you tell us more about this politics of the national grid? Is it true that if, for example, I can generate electricity in Lagos State, but I still must connect it to a national grid? Can you educate us on it? Because we keep hearing national grid.
Okay, what the national grid does is that those big wires you see, the mighty wires you see, bigger than the one you see on our streets, they are called the transmission infrastructure. That's the grid. And what the grid simply means is that we are all connected, right from Maiduguri down to Lagos here. We have a line that connects all of us together. So oftentimes, the problem we have is that if there is a problem in Osogbo, if there is somebody vandalizing a transmission infrastructure in Osogbo, Lagos won't have lights. It's just that simple. Now, so part of what we're trying to do, which is one of the things government is speaking to regarding the Siemens intervention project, is for us to say, okay, can we audit the state of our infrastructure today? That what state are they in? Are they capable of receiving the gas that can be made available such that at home we'll have power 24/7? So that audit exercise has been completed. Now, It is the investment side we're having conversation around, as well as the commercial side. One of the things government wants to do, because government still, there is still a blend of politics and policy. As an investor, I don't want to see politics in my policy, because I cannot predict, I can't work on that, I can't invest on the basis of that. I invest on the basis of policy. But government, for obvious reasons, because there are people in our economies that cannot afford to pay for power as far as government is concerned. So therefore, if they cannot pay for power, government feels that they need to intervene at that level, whereby government will be bridging the gap between what they should pay and what they are paying. Now, people call that subsidy. Now, for me, because I was poor, so I understand the mindset of poverty. But yet, I equally note, and this is me noting it not without any form of bias, I'm just saying it as is, that most of the people government is speaking for, some of them own 4 phones. And it's about priority. So if we truly drill down and you check the way people are spending money as against the mindset in government that some of these people can't pay, I think we'll have to find a way to balance it out. I believe that we should find a balance. I believe that the rich should pay more, undoubtedly, but we should not overburden the rich to the extent that it becomes impossible or uneconomical for them to take the power we're selling. Because there is always an alternative. The alternative of people buying electricity from me is primarily that they can put their generators at home. So how much is diesel? So diesel costs must consistently be higher than my own cost or tariff for me to become economically available and competitive. The moment I go higher than diesel cost, nobody will use me. They will use their diesel generator. Now we have done something. There's a model in Ikeja Disco, which we have done, where we're selling power to Ikeja DRA, to Magodo, and some other locations. And today, they have stable electricity. Why? Because they are paying economic tariff. So that's a model that government is replicating across the board in the country, whereby people that can pay, that are considered economically able, can pay for light in an economic manner, so that we can graduate the supply of electricity from there on and on to every part of the country. That's the model we're working with today. But the grid is one that connects everybody together. If the ball drops, then there won't be electricity.
Is there a possibility that the grid can be decentralized?
It can be decentralized. It can be, from a technical perspective.
Taking us forever to do that. Is that the politics in policy as well?
Well, relatively yes, again, but not necessarily so. It depends on how you look at it. Now, Nigeria is not, the economic potential of Nigeria is not uniform. Now, and it's not uniform, more again back to mindset. Because I go back in time, I look at the Ahmadu Bellos of this world. In their own time, so Ahmadu Bello did extremely very well for the North. The North was actually economically viable. I sat at a meeting yesterday with a Northerner, a good friend of mine, and very good friend of mine, intelligent guy, and we're talking about how Kano has suffered economic mess in the last 25 years. If you go to Kano, you'll find Angel Spinning and some of these tanning companies, textile firms, and the rest of them. Most of them are no more. So what kind of economic policies drove those companies out of Nigeria? So that's where I recommend that we go back to brass tack. Can we address that issue so that we can attract investment into Nigeria? One of the things people speak to with regards to coming to Nigeria is policy somersaults. Now that's an aspect that our leaders must address. Whether they are in APC or PDP or anything JP, whatever name so-called, we must have fundamental basis that unify us as a nation that we cannot even negotiate. They cannot be negotiated. You can't be having policy flip-flops and expect significant investment to come into the nation. It's mission impossible. If people are bringing in billions of dollars into your country, they want to have a degree of certainty and confidence that the money when brought in will go back to them if they invest. It's not that there's going to be a policy that will stop them. So we should, as a nation, start thinking long-term and not having a short-term mindset. A 4-year mindset is not going to help Nigeria. Neither is a 8-year mindset. It's a mindset that speaks to the next 30 years, the next 50 years, the next 100 years. There must be an economic plan that speaks to the prosperity of Nigeria in the future on the basis of certain fundamentals that needs to be made available for the world to come to Nigeria. If those things are not there, they're not coming. It's just that simple. And we can continue to re-engineer and do all sorts of reconfiguration. We're wasting everybody's time. They can see you. They know you. This is the age of intelligence and information. Information is not so difficult. And reality is what they deal with, not perception. You can burnish your image, you can garnish your image, you can make your cover look so good. If your content is not deep, it's easily seen. Just scratch the surface. It won't take too long a time for us to see the underbelly of your ignorance. So that's why, as a nation, I would recommend that, look, we need to sit back and say, okay, we want to attract what kind of investors? If you want to attract the richest, what are they looking for? Long-term mindset. That's it. They want to have stability in terms of policy making. They want to be able to have assurance that, look, this money we're bringing in, the day we want to take it out, nobody's going to stop us. There's no policy that will stop us from taking our money. Those are the things they want to see. The market is there. And the market is really yawning for so much. But we're stifling the possibilities in Nigeria by the policies of government. So government needs to sit back and say, okay, how do we activate and ensure that people that can make a difference truly stand up out there and they're supported by government? Other nations, they promote their own. We shouldn't be bringing down our own. All the people of the world, when they see America, when America is talking to an outside world, they speak one voice. It's America against the world. They don't care where you're from. But when they are talking amongst themselves, they do their own thing, but yet it's America that is projected. And that's why when you watch movies and all the rest of them, when you see them projecting New York, projecting Los Angeles, Miami, and the rest of them, there are dirty places in these places. But you won't see them project them. They are horrible places. But you won't see them project them. When they're shooting their films, you won't see them go to those places. But when we want to do our own, what are we doing? And the next thing I want to speak to is our value system, the culture. If we continue this very funny attitude of wanting to emulate the Europeans and the Americans, we're destroying ourselves. We'll lose our identity. If there is anything I would want to see happen, is for government to wake up tomorrow and decree, if it is possible to be decreed, that nobody should wear tie and suits again in Nigeria. That all of us, whether you're a banker, whether you're a lawyer, whatever you are, wear Nigerian attire, wear Ankara, wear batik, wear something local. When you do that, what you're going to be doing is promoting the textile industries in Nigeria. And Nigeria is hot, the weather is not conducive, and yet you see all of us buying ties and all that. We're sweating. People will be sweating profusely. And what will you see? They will still be wearing it because they want to look like Europeans. The Europeans don't want to look like you. Then why do you intend to look like Europeans? I don't understand. There's no basis for it. The weather doesn't even allow us, So if we can start with such things, the mindset will start to change. People will think local. They will start to behave and act local. That look, this is the Nigerian business environment. 200 million Nigerians buying our local fabrics. Imagine what is going to happen in that sector. Our fashion designers will blow up. And a lot of people that are not doing things positive now, they can start to contribute their quota by in that sector. Usually, bandwagon effect happens when there is prosperity in any industry. So you see a lot of people gravitate in that sector. So they will leave whatever indolent things they are doing currently to doing something positive and contributing their quota to the GDP.
You and I know Ghana fairly well, the country called Ghana. And you've done business in Ghana. About 2013 to 2016 or 2015 thereabouts, they had a major power crisis called you know, light will go off and everything. And one of the things they did was to make sure that they broke down different parts of their city into zones. So we will have zone A, we will have zone B, and then we have light from 12 a.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the others will take over 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Is that possible in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's not just possible, it's doable. You know, as a matter of fact, our aspiration is not limited to just Nigeria. It's actually black race, Africa. That's what we're looking at. And again, I speak to something that happened yesterday. If you continue to benchmark yourself against average, you will never ever grow. The benchmark for me is South Korea. The benchmark for me is USA. The benchmark for me is France. The benchmark is where they have electricity 24/7. Now, so it's not rocket science. There's no need all these 5 to 7, 6 to whatever. That's not the ideal. So we must have, first and foremost, a plan for the ideal world. And how do we accelerate our own process, our own system to be able to get to that ideal sooner than later? Because the longer it takes for us to get to the ideal, some of the funny things that are happening, and I say this to my colleagues in my different companies, is that innovation and technology is not waiting for Nigeria. Innovation and technology is not folding its hands, waiting for Nigeria to catch up. No. So certain developments are happening globally that is going to make electricity more readily available in a manner that is cheaper, in a manner that is more qualitative, in a manner that is more timely. So if all these developments are taking place, some of the infrastructures we have currently in Nigeria will soon become museums. So I don't want to operate in that environment where my infrastructure will become a museum. I want to sweat my asset as quickly as possible and sweat it within the lifespan of that machine, and yet intimately, aggressively, deliberately seek newer solutions, newer ways of doing things, which is why as a company, we have an innovation hub, which we're promoting, whereby we have people that are locked up, so to speak, in the laboratory of ideas, drilling down and bringing out new ideas to solve the problems of our own business and the nation. It is something that we are intentional about. So getting 24/7 electricity should be the ideal. I don't want to sculpt it. I don't want to bring it down to any lower standard. I don't want to lower the standard. It is one singular objective, is how do we have electricity in Nigeria 24/7? End of discussion. Don't let's lower the bar in any way or form. Whatever it takes, we can now start to do our own mental exercise of finding ways and means of getting it done. Because again, like I said earlier, it's not rocket science. It's been done elsewhere. The problem we have, with due respect to the Nigerian business environment, in quotes, is that we act as if we are oblivious of how other nations did it. We are not. We know how they did it. The difference is us. We, the people. We are the problem of we is the people. It has nothing to do with process. It has nothing to do with procedure. It has nothing to do with systems. It has nothing to do even with structure. It's about the people. If we change our mindset, which is what I spoke to earlier, the mindset that is disciplined, a mindset that is focused, a mindset that is bold, a mindset that is curious, a mindset that is time conscious, a mindset that is thoughtful, a mindset that is fair, we will make it as a nation. But if we continue this I, myself, alone mentality, yes, you will have all the billions in the world. But at the end of the day, there is mass poverty all around you. You're a poor person. You're finished. There's nothing for you to celebrate. And if we look at life from a relay race perspective, and the relay race perspective to me speaks to the fact that there are younger people behind me looking up to me. What am I passing on to them? If I'm passing on rubbish to them, I can't expect them to develop the Nigeria of my dreams. It's not possible. But if I give them something better that they can build on, if I've given them a foundation, and that foundation can be built upon a structure, a superstructure of tomorrow, then I'm comfortable and happy. Then I'm rich. So my wealth is not in the amount of money in my bank account. My wealth is primarily based on what I've left behind by way of legacy and impact in my own time. So it's really, for me, I still say this, if Nigeria wants to have electricity, if Nigeria wants to become industrialized, if Nigeria wants to be in the first nation of the world, where the best of the best sit down and want to be there, sitting down with them, we must think better than them, not even like them. And we go to school with these guys, we beat them in the class, we dust them. We are competitively better, we're smarter, we're intelligent people. So how do we now convert our intelligence to products and services that would endure? That's the question that is begging for attention. And the answer for me, the answer, if I am to answer it, is two ways. It's both leadership and followership. Because you can run as much as you want to. If the people behind you, they are not running as well as you should, then you've lost it.
We are simultaneously live on Facebook, and there is a question for you. Mr. Adesina, please, when you served as a member of the Presidential Committee on the accelerated expansion of the electricity infrastructure in the country, what was the outcome?
Yeah, the outcome was that essentially government should give the power business to the private sector for a number of years. The outcome was that government should not be involved in power supply for a considerable period. As a matter of fact, if my memory serves me right, I think it's 25 years, whereby the private sector will own the different parts of the value chain and be able to rapidly grow electricity supply. At that material time, we were shooting for 6,000 megawatts, and we were generating about 3,000 megawatts of electricity. So the aspiration was that, okay, in this value chain, where do we have the weak links? And we saw weaknesses almost everywhere. Unfortunately, the weaknesses we saw in 2008 are still there with us in 2020. Because exactly the same set of weaknesses, nothing different. And what were those weaknesses? For ease of understanding for everybody listening, one, our population is growing. Government at that time owned all the assets in the electricity space. The electricity infrastructure wasn't growing at the rate of population growth. So invariably, the assets we had in 2007, 2008 was supplying the same amount of power. Today is similar to what we're supplying at that material time. Can you imagine? Exactly, nothing majorly different. Now the infrastructure is growing old, they are becoming obsolete, invariably more money is needed. The maintenance culture was bad and it's still relatively is getting better now in the different parts because everybody is now coming to the understanding and realization that, look, our reputation and who we are, our person, is now at stake. As a matter of fact, for some of us, it's our name now. It's our name that is at stake. Like if we fail, whatever we represent has failed. There's nothing we can say to the world anymore because we have the opportunity. So why did we fail? So some of us is more of no. My name is not my name. I can't destroy my name. My name must be protected, and therefore I have to do everything conceivable. But unfortunately, protecting your name is not even sufficient alone to give you the leeway. So there is a need for that integrated solution to go into the future that we desire. And for us to do so is not rocket science. I said something that maybe needs to be re-emphasized. Where government puts money by way of budgeting, our annual budget is a reflection of our priorities. Anytime I pick the budget, the only thing I'm looking for is what are the priorities of government. So the amount of money you're going to spend in the different areas tells me where your priorities are. You put your money where your mouth is, where your heart is, your treasure is. So that's the way it is for me.
Where do we put our money? Legislature.
So no, I don't want to. You know, I'm a business person.
Okay, yeah, a business
I'm a business man.
No problem. No problem. No, because you're talking
really,
about our priorities. I know
what we need to do.
Priorities.
No, what we need to do really is we should ask ourselves, the last few years, where have we spent more money? where have we spent more money? That's our focus. Because where you are spending money represents your focus. So we cannot be paying lip service to an aspect of our economy and say we are focused on it. But that's why I said earlier, really, with regards to this government, the Buhari government, in terms of money spent in the electricity space, they've done incredibly well, comparatively, as against others. But the problem is where the money is going into, where the money is going to, is where the issue is. You know,
so it's not about money spent. We've always spent
exactly.
money. Just spend money. You've
Yeah.
been in the industry forever. Obama just spend money.
It's where and how.
You can't spend money. Cumulatively.
It's where and how do you spend the money? That's what needs to be.
I'm sure we will generate more electricity than Japan or Singapore. And yet...
Sorry, I lost you for a second. Can you come again, please?
I said you talked about the money being spent. And
correct,
I'm
you're
saying
right.
that from Obasanjo to date, they've all spent huge money. And yet you are telling us that we have not moved beyond what we had then till now. So it means that the problem is not money. Our problem is not money. Our problem is the determination to make things work. Look, our good friend in Ghana, when Mahama was president of Ghana, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. When Mahama was president in Ghana and they had the problem of electricity, he came out on television and he told Ghanaians the truth. He gave them 2 years. He said, in 2 years, I will deliver electricity, but you will have to pay the right tariff.
Correct. That's it.
You will have to pay the right tariff. It's one of the reasons he lost election. But he said he was ready to lose election. But he will give Ghana electricity, and in 18 months, you know that in 18 months, this man was able to give over 800 megawatts. Not only did he generate more power, he was also able to solve the problems of transmission. We are not generating enough. We are not transmitting. We are not distributing. Then we are just in one spot, in a state of inertia. Why?
Okay, the answer to that is this, because it's not as if, you know, when you use the silos analysis, the gas quantity we have in Nigeria is growing. We have so much of gas. We are a gas-centric nation. We have so much of it. But what quantity of it are we using to generate electricity? Question number one. Number two, the generation capacity. What was the generation capacity? What is it today? In Egbin Power Plant, for instance, Egbin has installed capacity of 1,320 megawatts. As at the time we took over the power plant, it was generating about 400 megawatts. Today, we've been able to ramp it up back to 1,100. But for the lack of payment and the rest of them, which beset us for a while and all that, we would have been generating 1,320. But we cannot supply that power because transmission can't take that full power. Now, so you could go down there. Now, when you go down again, down to distribution company, almost similar SQ. So what I'm saying is this. If you're making any investment in the value chain, it has to be concurrent. And that's what President Mahama did. He had a plan. All he did was that he audited his system. He did a demand study. He checked out the capacity required for his nation at that material time. And they gave him the figure. He now did the gap analysis with regards to each aspect of the value chain. And the resources were made available. And that was why, if you see at that material time, what happened was that it was a focal frontal approach. It was dedicated. It was focused completely. There wasn't any distraction whatsoever. Now, the problem is we don't want the pain. We don't want to bear the pain of today, and yet we want to enjoy tomorrow. It's absolutely impossible. Third Mainland Bridge is being fixed at this point in time. Now, it's painful for most motorists. Having to go around and around, the number of hours you are wasting and all that is seriously painful. But should they finish within the time frame, traffic flow will become better. However, whilst we are hoping that traffic flow will become better, remember that every day about 3,000 people come into Lagos. These are Lagos. Every day, newcomers into Lagos, about 3,000 drops into Lagos every day. of our life. So invariably, the number of people using all these road facilities 6 months ago as against now will be different. In 6 months' time, they will be different. In another 6 months, on and on. So if you have influx of people and there is no commensurate infrastructural development, what you are going to have is that you'll be lagging behind. I recall growing up very well, part of what I loved about Nigeria was the plan of our areas. In Ogba was meant to be an industrial area. So go to Ogba today, is it still an industrial area? So you ask yourself, now for us building electricity infrastructure, our capacity deployment is equally dependent on the kind of customers staying in the different areas within our franchise area. So we have a kind of infrastructure for our industrial and commercial users. We have a set of infrastructure for our residential users. We have all these things going on at the same time. So the problem now is, if you have in an industrial area where residential people are staying, you've messed up the whole plan. Now, the industrial and commercial users of electricity, they pay more. Now, when residential customers start to stay in an area that is here marked for industrial user or commercial user, you can see the mismatch. The problem starts. Now, we're having a conversation with our regulator today. What's the conversation about? The feeder. There's something we call feeder in the system. What feeds the various areas? Power comes from those feeders into different locations. Now, if a feeder is meant to be an industrial feeder and a commercial feeder, and you have residential people, what does it do? It affects the price, it affects the service. The amount of money required will be more than what is meant to be required, because industrial area, by way of ease of understanding, they're meant to be at work 8 to 6 in the evening. At night, there is no light there. So what you find is that you will find displacement at night into residential area of power. Unfortunately, you don't have in locations primarily meant for industrial and commercial users where residential users are. So the people selling power wants to take power to the residential area where the residences are, so that people can sleep well at night. But unfortunately, in the industrial and commercial area, residential people are staying there. They too, they want that light. So it invariably means that you now need to spend double what is spent elsewhere in other climes in order to feed that kind of customer. So when you don't have technical, financial, and commercial conversation, consistent, aligned, well aligned, speaking to each other, you find this mismatch, there won't be electricity. In other climes, they work according to plan. You cannot go and build a residential house in a commercial or industrial area. You cannot. And if you're doing so, you'll be paying the price those people are paying. You can't call yourself residential anymore. You become automatically industrial, and you are going to pay the price. If we start to enforce such laws in Nigeria, and people like us making investment, we will make that investment on the basis of the reality and openness that, look, if anybody stays in this location, you're paying industrial price. If you stay in this other location, you're paying residential price. You had better stay in residential price if you want to pay lower. That kind of design needs to happen again. Again, it's about people.
But I still insist, and I don't expect you to speak to this. I still believe, because the issue of electricity has been very, very important to me. And I've gone beyond mere writing about it. You know, there are journalists who just write. But I go beyond writing, and I use whatever content I have in government to try to understand government. And I can see the lack of interest on our various governments. I don't want to say it's Buhari or it's Jonathan or anybody. The issue of transmission, for example, there was a time that I got in touch with the ministry, and we had those who did it elsewhere, who were ready to do it in Nigeria. But Nigeria was not committed to them. How do you deal with the issue of doing business when there are no guarantees? Every time you have efficient, competent people who can do the work, the government tells you we don't have money. Okay, if you don't have money, then the next issue is, how do you go about it? We can fund it, but where are the guarantees? Government tells you we can't give you guarantees. So how do you do business in such a climate?
Uh, well, for me, if I heard you well, I think everything is still the same subject we've been articulating all along. It's still about uh, government policy, the mindset that drives those policies, and then the lack of full understanding of the complexity of some of these problems and how interwoven they are. Guarantees are good to the extent that you don't have a fair, commercial, well-disciplined market. That is when you require guarantees. More often than not, wherever you hear the word guarantee, is usually based on the suspicion of lack of capacity to receive revenue, that you won't be paid on time and you won't be paid in full. Usually is based on that suspicion. Now,
What
our
of
system can...
government? No, but what of instability in government? Every government in Nigeria wants to cancel what happened previously. Every government, new government, blames the past government instead of doing what you can, at least to take it further from where the last government left it. So that is the
I'm
fear.
losing
It's not just
some
the
of the
fear
pieces.
of whether you will be able to retrieve.
Just
I said
yeah,
it's
I
not
did pick some
just
of
a matter of your inability to recoup your investment. It's also about government. Government changes every now and then, and government is unwilling to pay or to commit to previous commitments. That's why people need guarantees.
Okay, well, you see, it's a catch-22 thing, really. It's which one do you really will take first, depending on, and again, back to priority. You know, the guarantee government can give is limited. Government cannot give unlimited guarantee. It's absolutely impossible. So the guarantee is based mainly on the capacity, the revenue profile of Nigeria as a nation, and what they're going to use to pay back. Because a guarantee can be an amount of money set aside to pay somebody for whatever service you are providing. So it's imperative that that guarantee too must be limited to the capacity of that nation to be able to pay that money when called upon to pay. Now, where priority comes in is that government will say, which area am I ready to give guarantees to? Is it electricity? Is it agriculture? Is it transport? Is it railway? Whatever. Which area and what quantum of guarantee are we looking at? So they need to dimension it from the get-go. If you don't do that, then you've lost it. Is absolutely impossible. So one of the things that priority speaks to is the fact that you truly must be able to know which focal point, which area, which priority do you want to emphasize on, dimension the guarantee required equally based on the goal you want to achieve and the duration of that guarantee. Because if you tie down the resources of state, a guarantee is you tying resources down one way or the other, unknown to quite a number of financial, non-financial persons. If you give a guarantee to somebody, it means that something is tied down to pay back that money in case there is failure, in case there is default. So you don't want to tie an extensive sum that is not properly dimensioned into projects that you know you don't have total control over in terms of the lifespan of the guarantee. So you have to dimension it and be able to scale it in a manner that you say that when will the business itself become commercially viable enough to run on its own without recourse to guarantee. So it's a question that requires a bit of necessary detailed analysis. They can't just give guarantee to everybody, but they must give guarantee to areas of priority that they want to truly grow, if those areas represent the baseline of productivity and industrialization.
Okay, finally, you know, we've done nearly 2 hours. You won't believe it just now.
Wow.
Finally, how well is Sahara Power doing, despite all the odds?
Well, we want to first thank God for that. We're doing as well as we possibly can. Today, the installed capacity of EGBI is 1,320, like I said earlier, in River State, of 541 megawatts. So put together, we're talking of about 2,000 megawatts of generation capacity. Ikeja electricity is one that we're pushing aggressively today for the purpose of ensuring that the last mile, the consumers on the street, they are happy, because if they're not happy, we're not happy. So we want to be able to engender customer experience that is satisfactory, that we can beat our boast of and beat our chest and say we've done incredibly well meeting the needs of the people in this particular location. That is something we're doing. Sahara Power Group is advancing its course in some other parts of the world. We're looking at some other countries where we want to expand, but then charity begins at home, which is why really I'm focused more on the internal aspect, because Nigeria must have lights. It's a life mantra for me. It's something that must happen in my own lifetime sooner than later, such that we can move away. I don't want us to be discussing power again in Nigeria on the menu of things we need to do as a nation. And the earlier we start to make that available, electricity available to the people, the better for each and every one of us. We are a company that is focused on innovation, creativity. We have young people we're recruiting today so that we can inject fresh mind, fresh ideas, new vista of energy and insight into our business. We're looking for people who can help us see what we cannot see. We're looking for people who will take the baton from some of us who are growing so that they can run faster. Like I've said to most of my mentees, it's a relay race that we're all running in life. If you're running 4 by 400, 4 people are running 4 by 100, and 1 person is running the 400 meter. The 4 persons running 4 by 100 will run faster than 1 person running it 400. So it is that kind of mentality and mindset we have, that when one gets tired, it gives the baton to another set of people who will run and run probably faster and do things in ways and manner that we cannot conceive. We have a global mindset. We're thinking global and acting local. Our view is to bring the best of the world to Nigeria and equally export the best of Nigeria to the world. We've done it so well in the oil and gas space. We've competed with foreigners and we are successful thus far. And we know that the sky is not the limit. The limit is what you call it. So we want to go as far as pushing ourselves, pushing the envelope and making things positive happen and make the black race very proud. That's our ambition. That's our goal. To bring energy to life is something we live with.
Well, I wish to congratulate you again on your birthday. And
thank you very much.
That you'll be hearing from us from time, because this is a very, very serious topic. And I hope when next you will come back. I assure you we will avoid government as much as possible. We know how it is in Africa. Earlier on, I noticed that the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Right Honorable Umar Galinaba, was watching. I don't know if he's still online, but I just wanted to recognize him. The last time I spoke to him, there was a rumor that he died, and I had to hook up with him to deny the rumor. There is always rumor about one person or the other dying. Then I noticed Mr. Gbenga Badijo, the chartered accountants and auditor, our auditors. And I must commend Sahara Power that, yes, we have our office in the Ikeja GRA, and I can say that you have done extremely well. We're very proud of you. And so may God continue to post, and protect you.
Amen.
My regards.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for the honor. I feel honored. Thank you.
My pleasure. We'll play music. Before you go, we'll give you a music. Onisha Iyanu.
You're the God of awesome wonders. Tasted of your power. Onisha Iyanu. Much more than I deserve. My ears have heard the wonders of your grace. Creation in all of you, and we join to give you praise.
A piece of your power, you're showing so much mercy, much more than I deserve. Greeting.
Thank you, my brother. God bless you. God
Thank you.
bless you.
Thank you.
At
Thank
8
you.
o'clock, just in about 10 minutes time, I'll be joined live by Bishop Felix Adejumo and Pastor Mrs. Funke Felix Adejumo. Live, we'll be speaking about life-changing encounters. And I hope you will all join me. Just in 10 minutes, we have a quick break. Thank you. Okay, my brother,
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Okay.